Hi, my name is Lijiaozi, and I'm a first-year PhD student in the philosophy department. So my story today will be entitled, Am I ill and where's my hat? Well, I think each of us has got a hat, whether it's like a student, a teacher, a father, a mother, a daughter, a dog owner, a cat owner, something like that. And each of us has a body, or we are our body, and sometimes we are a bit concerned about our body. Well, so my story starts around 4 years ago when I was doing my master's in modern English literature. And at one point, I felt really ill. So I felt really uncomfortable. I felt like my body was swollen and trembling and could not sleep. So I was really worried because I had not had that before. So, so I went to the GP, and it was my medical encounter because it was also very new for me to deal with the NHS system. And well, I went there and I got my body checked. I got some data about my body, and I was told that I was fine. And I was very disappointed because I felt really bad, and I wanted something. I wanted some kind of account of my body that I could not get. I feel like maybe I needed some kind of explanation that could make me feel better. Okay, so another story about my friend. So as he was growing up, he had an elder brother who is a doctor who claimed that my friend has got Asperger's syndrome. Well, he doesn't think he has it, and so he spent his youth trying to get away from this label. So he went to support groups, he went to see a GP, he did some online testing just to get away from this kind of account of our body or of our mind. Well, I think the way we live our body, or the way we live our day-to-day life is very messy, and sometimes, most of the time we don't realize about our body, but sometimes it just suddenly rise to our awareness, and then we start to wonder about it. Well, I have a question. Hands up if you feel you are 100% perfectly healthy. Nobody? Well, so I think it's like we talk about the concept of disease, health a lot, and when we start to wonder about it, our conception of health is a bit like an ideal. Like, I was not surprised that nobody here feel like they're completely healthy. Well, so this is to do with a concept I'm researching on called suboptimal health. So it refers to when you have some kind of bodily complaints, some kind of worries that do not suffice to be medically classified or explained or something like that. Well, when I was growing up in China, I was very familiar with this concept. Actually, it was everywhere in our discourse because I think the key to Chinese medicine is about preventing disease from happening, and so that has something to do with thinking before the disease. And as I live in China, it's like in between the two medical systems. So both the Western medicine and Chinese medicine are like state sanctioned. So both are in operation in China. Anyways. As I was doing my master's in the UK, I did not encounter, this word was new to my friend. And on the contrast, I learned the word hypochondria. Well, at that moment, my head was still a literary critic. I was busy writing my thesis on Ulysses. And maybe that was why I felt ill, I think. And fast forward, I graduated from my master's, and I went back to China. And at one point, I still didn't feel very well, so my mom took me to a Chinese medical practitioner. And there, well, I was told I was ill, and I was happy because I got some kind of account. Like, I could explain myself. I was told that I had too much dampness in my body, some kind of imbalance, liver deficiency in qi, whatever. And I was given some herbs that I have to cook 2 hours every day and drink, and it was really bitter, but I feel better. I wasn't sure whether it was a count, or it was a medicine, or it was my effort, to do something about my body. But that's when I started to be really interested in, like the kind of, the account, the kind of worries, the kind of concerns we have about our body and to research about it in a very arts and humanities way. And I started my PhD initially to research on the depiction of body and suboptimal health in modern Chinese literature. And well, my dad was really concerned that I decided to, come to UK to do my PhD on Chinese medicine. But because my parents think I'm really old, and all they are concerned is just to get me married. And anyway, so I started with my PhD. And luckily for me, as soon as I started my PhD, I got a job as an assistant in a Chinese medical clinic here in Sheffield. Well, before I started my job, I thought, I would predominantly meeting with Chinese people here living in Sheffield who are just too familiar with Chinese systems, so they would go there. But to my surprise, most of the people visiting the clinic are, from all over the world, and they have similar medical encounters. I was surprised that people have, similar worries and our concern for our body is just strong enough for us to seek different accounts because we just desperately want to put something together about our body when we do worry about it. And here at the clinic, sometimes the doctor has a very complicated system, which I do not completely understand. But okay, I take a tiny bit to explain about myself, and I think each of us, the people who visit the clinic, similar as me, they take a piece of it that account of their own conditions, and all they need is that. And it's something quite similar to literature. It's something very poetical. I mean, it's just very much to do with language sometimes, I guess. Well, and at that time, I was trying to look for my text. I wasn't sure which piece of Chinese literature to write on because, I was starting with modern Chinese literature, and at that point, actually, people are not very happy with Chinese medicine, and we were very much concerned with, making our nation scientific. And anyway, suddenly I realized I could, research on the people who visit the clinic, or just, the stories of people are more interesting than literature. And that moment, that's when my literary critique hat somehow disappeared. And well, and now my plan for my PhD is to first start with a theoretical reflection on disease, health, suboptimal health, and then I will start with interviewing the people and asking how they come to start with alternative medicine and what kind of account they give of their body. And I think that would be quite interesting, although it's not very concrete, because as I was told, I'm allowed to be confused in my first year of my PhD. And also, when I was working in the clinic, sometimes people would ask me, are you a student? Yes. And are you learning to be a doctor? Yes, but not that kind of doctor. And I guess that's my hat. And thank you very much.